So much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa.
Each week, you know what we do. We talk wellness, relationships, self-development, and living your best life. We talk especially about topics that impact women.
But today, we're turning the spotlight on the men.
On the men because we love them so.
That's right. That's right. So today's episode is titled, Brother, Where Art Thou? And it's all about how men struggle to maintain friendships as they get older.
Well, Teresa, that's a hot topic because, I've been reading about that and different articles about it. And, actually, we see it everywhere. The guys, they sort of start out strong. They're playing ball with their buddies and they have poker nights and they're frat brothers for life.
And then suddenly it's like the only calls they're making are to Home Depot or calling us, their
Yeah,
wives
yeah.
or their mama. What's up with
Yeah,
that?
yeah, and maybe they're fantasy football buddies if they're lucky. But I want to, before we go any further, I'm gonna have to do some sort of disclaimer because this is about men, but I'll tell you, it's definitely not my man because he's got buddies and he hangs out more than I do, and which I'm glad about that. Yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah.
seriously, there are studies that show as men age, they become more isolated.
Hmm.
According to a 2023 Harvard Health report, men are more likely to report having no close friends. Men are more likely to report having fewer close friends than women. About 1 in 5 men say that they have no one to turn to during a personal crisis.
Wow, no
But is
one to
that,
turn to.
yeah, but is that
Wow.
a man thing though? Is it, I'm doing air quotes, a man thing, right?
Yeah,
They just don't talk about how they feel, right?
yeah. And get this, Teresa, in 2022, the U.S. Surgeon General issued a national advisory on the epidemic of loneliness. Remember,
Hmm.
we talked about that in a
We
prior
have.
episode, saying that lack of social connection increases the risk of early death by over 60%. Now, to me, that's staggering. 60%, it
That,
increases the risk of early death by that much because of loneliness?
Lou,
Wow.
that
Yeah.
it is insane, but true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about why this happens. We've seen this firsthand.
Yeah. Men often become, just like you mentioned earlier, socially dependent on their wives or partners. Their friendships become secondhand. They're friends with your friend's husband. And we know many times we don't want to gloss over the fact that, we talk about women and how many roles we feel and the pressure on us, but men are often at times, they're providers in the family, they're protectors, and they have so many roles that they're trying to manage. And so seems like what they give up would be their own friendships.
Well, they don't really cultivate friendships on their own, Lou. And once the kids are grown or life changes, those friendships fall apart.
Yeah. And Teresa, let's be real. Society doesn't always make it easy for men to be emotionally vulnerable or, for them to even say, hey, bro, I miss you. That's something people look at you sideways if
I
that happens.
know, I
Yeah.
know, I know. Heaven forbid they plan for a brunch, you know?
Or, just imagine a guy texting, "You free for pancakes and deep conversation?" That's just not something that's going to happen. There is a trend on TikTok now. Teresa, I know you wouldn't know anything about it unless I
Yeah,
tell you,
that's
where
right.
men are calling their friends and what they're doing. They call them and say, "You know what? Um, I just wanted to call and tell you good night." And the reactions of their friends, it's hilarious. And the friends are like, "You doing what? What are you calling me for?" And some of them are reacting quite hostile to it.
Yeah,
And this is their buddy. And some of them are like, "Don't call me with that." And then some of them are like, "Are you okay? Is something going?" But they're totally thrown off by their best buddy. These are their
yeah.
buddies calling to just say, "I want to tell you good night. I'm getting ready to go to bed and just want you to have a good night. Hope you sleep well." And it's completely thrown them off. It's
That
hilarious.
is so funny because when you said that part about, hey, bro, I miss you, I thought about my own husband, and if
Yeah,
somebody said that to him,
yeah.
he will likely be ready to punch him.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm telling you, personal experience after I married and cheated, I had to work on him for him to tell his mother he loved her.
Mm,
I mean, that was just not something they said. And so after
yeah,
a while, he began to be more comfortable with it, and so did she. But that was something he was just not,
yeah,
accustomed to saying. And that was to his mom, whom he loved dearly.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yes,
yeah.
yeah. So,
But you know what? It's we'd love to see it though, right?
yeah,
We'd
yeah, we
we'd
do.
love to see it.
We love
Mhm.
it. Let's talk about the benefits of close male friendships for health, happiness, and even longevity, because we already talked about that 60%. Six benefits would be reduced risk of depression. Having close friends provides emotional support during hard times, improved heart health. Social bonds can reduce blood pressure and inflammation. Lower stress, venting to a buddy eases tension. Think about it, Teresa, how
Mhm.
we feel when we're able to just talk with a close friend about something. Even if the problem hasn't changed, you feel lighter because you're able to share that with someone. Increased longevity, strong friendships are linked to living longer lives. That's real. Think about that.
Oh yeah.
Boosted confidence, male friendships offer affirmation and motivation. We can affirm that, what we're thinking and feeling is normal, and we can get motivation from each other. We can check in on each other, and that's very beneficial to us in our day-to-day living. Greater
Mm-hmm.
resilience. Friends help men bounce back from setbacks. And we know, like I said, many times we focus so much on what's going on with women and our challenges, but men do not have it easy in this society. And let's be real, particularly African American men.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah.
say that friends help men bounce back from setbacks, be that setbacks in their relationships, their careers, what they're trying to accomplish at any particular time, going through financial struggles, just talking it through many times gives people the motivation to keep going and to not feel defeated.
So Lou, what I hear you saying then is that men need those ride or die friends just as women do.
Absolutely. They're critical and
Hmm.
so essential. So, fellas, today, let's help you out. Here's how to stay connected.
There are six things we want to share about maintaining friendships. It's okay. Schedule a monthly meetup. Put it on your calendar just like you would a dentist appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Send a
Yeah.
just thinking about you text. Don't think of it as being that corny thing, but just send that text to simply say, what's up? You good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't have to be deep.
Yeah.
A meme even works, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Start a group chat, sports, music, dad jokes, whatever bonds you.
Yeah.
We are literally giving you the blueprint.
That's
Start
right.
small, send texts that ask, anybody see that game last night? Play or watch sports together in person or virtually. Dude, there's a really neat thing right now on Netflix. I don't know if you've noticed it. You
What's
can
that?
actually watch a movie with a friend that's not in the same location as you.
No, did not
Yeah,
know that.
yeah,
What?
yeah. Nia and I watch movies
Oh,
together.
that's some good
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
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 So plan a guy's trip. Even just a weekend getaway does wonders. Sisters, now, don't trip. It's not always about you and them kids. Let the
Say
men
that.
go.
Listen, say that again, partner, for the people in the back.
Yeah, let them go. Don't trip. It's not always about you, right?
No,
Let the men
no.
have a good time. Be vulnerable. Say how you feel, even if it's awkward at first. So, those are 6 tips that can help you to maintain those friendships. And, ladies, if you're listening, we can help, but we can't do it for them.
That's right. We are not telling the women to become personal friendship assistants. Let them do this on their own. And just like I did with Nasheed, encourage them. But Teresa, you've given an excellent blueprint. So, 6 things women can do to encourage the men they love. Normalize male friendships. Praise him when he makes an effort to connect. When you hear him say, he's checking in or going to meet somebody to play basketball, you make it easy for him to do that and encourage him, like, oh, okay, now, all right, have a good time, have a good game. And when he comes back, encourage him and praise him for having made that effort.
So, Lou, you mentioned one from your personal experience. This
Yeah.
one hits home for me. I have the opposite of your husband. My husband's the opposite of yours. He doesn't want to go or do anything. He is this
Yeah.
guy that we're talking
Yeah.
about, right?
Wow. Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
he does make the effort to hang out with one of his buddies, oh boy, do I
He
praise him.
enjoy.
Did you
Yeah.
have a good time? When are
Yeah.
y'all going to do that again?
Yeah.
Because he used to do it, golf all the time,
Yeah.
go to the driving range. He used to go watch sports at the sports bars, things like that. He doesn't do any of those things anymore.
Yeah, yeah. And we've got to encourage that. We've got to encourage guys out. Like Teresa, like you said earlier, don't guilt trip, celebrate it. And, we're not asking you to handle it. Let him reach out on his own and model good friendships. Let him see how you value your friends. And hopefully that will set the tone. And maybe just suggest a reunion. Nudge him to reconnect with old college or high school buddies. And, you don't have to make it weird, but you could even use this episode as a segue to talk about loneliness and let him know it's okay to feel isolated and he doesn't have to, but let him know that it's normal, but it could also potentially impact his health. And that's for anyone. And I think particularly after all of us went through COVID, anybody can discuss that. We lost so many people. We were isolated. And so it is so important that we now reconnect and stay connected because it is critical. It's important not only for you, it's important to the community. So loneliness isn't just a women's issue, it's a human issue. And men deserve thriving, meaningful connections too. And we love them and we want that for them.
So to the men listening, call your friends. To the women,
Mhm.
support the men in your lives as they reconnect. It's literally life-saving.
That's it for today. Don't forget to share this episode with the man you care about. It could be your husband, your brother, your partner, your son, your nephew, whomever, your neighbor, the person you work with. And if you're a man listening, Teresa and I want you to know we see you and we're rooting for you. And we always have been, and we'll continue to do that.
And we'll catch you next time on Earrings Off.
Please, by all means, take good care.